in the Declaration of Independence, it says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." And happiness meant blessedness and fullness at that time, right? It was different than how we understand it. "And to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed." So when the Constitution was, or when really the war was ended, they had secured these rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But these rights were not equally applied to everyone, were they? We didn't have maybe life, but not liberty. Liberty wasn't equally applied to everyone in this country. Well, fast forward to today, the right to life, which was believed to be unalienable by the founding fathers, is not guaranteed to all of the people of Idaho and even the people in the United States. And of course, I'm referring to our preborn neighbors. They have an unalienable right to life, and government is instituted to secure these rights. So in the state of Idaho, as many of you know, we have major exceptions, including the ability for a mom who decides she wants to murder her own child to order pills from wherever and to kill her own child. And there are actually videos of OBGYNs out there explaining how they can get pills and keep it under the table and keep it hidden. But the main reason why this is still something that's going on in Idaho is because there really is no fear of ramification, because it's perfectly legal for a mother to murder her own child in Idaho still. And until we secure these rights, this is the first right, unalienable right mentioned by the founding fathers. And this wasn't just pulled out of thin air. Human beings are uniquely created in the image of God. Unlike all other creatures, we can go kill an animal and butcher it and eat it, and the reason is because God created it for our benefit. But He created human beings special, different. They have an unalienable right to life, and government's first priority should be to protect that life above all others. That's the first priority. And so, to me, that's number one priority for me as a legislator, as a lawmaker, that we see that right, that God-given right to life is secured by our government that was instituted for that purpose. In our Idaho Constitution, it says that all laws are to be applied equally to everyone. We aren't to apply it differently to you or to you because of your size or whether or not someone loves you or whatever it might be. So your circumstances don't determine your value. And so as a legislator, we don't, as the legislature, we have no right or authority from God or the Constitution to treat any of you, any of your neighbors, or any of your preborn neighbors any different under the law. And so that's my number one priority. I did sponsor a bill last year, Senate Bill 1059. I got a number of co-sponsors. I believe all these gentlemen were on it. We will be introducing another bill, Lord willing, in Senate State Affairs Committee, and we'll see how far it goes. I know right now we're trying to build support. We're trying to educate and convince hearts and convict hearts of this issue. So this is the number one issue I think is that we are facing in Idaho and in the legislature. This is the one thing that over and over in the Old Testament especially, that God's judgment would come down on a nation was that they would turn their eyes away from child sacrifice. Yes. And so it wasn't even if you were not committing it, if you ignored it, you were still culpable, you were still guilty. Right. So this is a paramount issue in our state. Okay, I will stay right here probably. When you think about our current pro-life laws that were pushed through, and even before, I guess, Roe versus Wade or the Dobbs decision, they were pushed through before that, and there was the trigger bill and these other laws. What they do is they essentially, they're regulations. They regulate the when, where, how, and why, and so forth, that you can murder a preborn child. And so if you think about like, my daughter and I are going to be doing some elk hunting on Friday and Saturday this week, and we're going to go kill some elk hopefully, and it'll be legal for this window of time. But if we were to go up next month, it's illegal. I would be charged with criminal penalties and so forth, and face all kinds of fines and forfeiture of my guns probably, and various things. And so what Idaho is doing there is saying that we have the authority to regulate the when, where, how, and why you can kill elk or moose and so forth. But what we're doing in these laws is we're essentially saying that the nature and the value and worth of a preborn child is essentially the same, in that we can regulate it. We have the power and authority from God in the Constitution to regulate how and when and where and why we can murder a preborn child.
It's incremental.
Well, it's dehumanizing is what it's doing. So incremental, when I think of the idea of incrementalism, is you have a goal and you're moving to that goal slowly, so step by step. And so if your goal is a law of equal protection, then every step toward that needs to be aimed toward that and accomplishing that end. And so right now our laws don't accomplish that. They actually deny the equal humanity. They deny the humanity. They deny the image of God in the preborn child. They do all these things that are counterproductive, we would say, in the name of having less babies killed. Now we already know that the amount of abortions that have actually increased and not decreased. They've just changed how they're doing it. So it actually hasn't accomplished the saving babies part to really any great degree, as maybe, I mean, we do save some elk lives by having it only open for a couple of weeks, but it doesn't, what it doesn't do is it doesn't teach in the hearts and minds of the citizen that the equal value and worth of the preborn child. And so the bill that I brought last year, and it'll be very similar to this year, or next year, I guess, this upcoming session, is that what it does is it's very simple. It just simply says that the same laws that apply to you will apply to them. It's
and the
really
same
simple.
laws that apply to murder would apply to whoever murders.
Right. So we all agree that I hope we all agree that it's a human being, and that taking the life of a human being is murder. And that we should treat it as a society a certain way, but yet we've allowed ourselves as a society to dehumanize that baby, and so that we're able to regulate this. If you think about in Nazi Germany, or even when the blacks were enslaved, what you first had to do was dehumanize. Once you could dehumanize, then so you talk to somebody and you hear them say fetus. You know what they've done is they've tried to use a term that puts it in a different category, that it's not human. Once you dehumanize, you can do something else with it. You don't have to treat them as a human being. And so that's really what we need to do, is we have to actually get back to a just system of laws that teach us the equal value and worth of the preborn child. And so to me, what are the incremental steps toward that? Well, printing the bill, getting co-sponsors, electing more candidates who will support this. These are steps, incremental steps that are accomplishing that goal. What are steps that are not incrementally accomplishing that goal? Well, it's codifying in law injustice and partiality, saying, well, you can murder these babies under these circumstances, but you can't murder babies under these circumstances. That's not incrementally moving that toward this goal. And so we have to understand what is the role of civil government, what is the role of family, what is the role of the church in the matter of saving babies that are our preborn neighbors.
So would the ultimate bill that makes it illegal to murder babies, period, would that have consequences in the bill as well?
So it really doesn't. So it's just simply including our preborn neighbors under the laws that we enjoy, that we are protected by. That's all it does. It doesn't establish the different consequences in various circumstances and so forth. It just simply treats it the same. And I get questions often like, well, if we pass this bill, then won't we subject every woman to a criminal investigation if she has a miscarriage? Well, no, that's totally bogus. There are so many people that die of natural death every day that it's never investigated. There has to be real articulable suspicion before you would even open an investigation. We have a Fourth Amendment that protects us from undue search and seizure and so forth. Women's menstrual cycles will not be monitored. That's totally bogus. It's criminal. It's criminal to murder you, but yet we don't have to spy on all your neighbors constantly to make sure they're not murdering you.
Right.
No, if there's suspicion that they've murdered you, then we launch an investigation and so forth. And that's the process. It's just a normal judicial process that we have every day in this country and in our state. So, question.
You'd think you'd have to make it illegal to write a prescription for that in Idaho. That might help. Of course,
So-
people can drive to Oregon, get some
Yeah, so-
Oregon doctor and pick it up there,
So-
but
Some of the issue here is it would be like if we said, we're going to get rid of all our criminal homicide laws so that it's legal to murder any born human and unborn life, so forth. But what we're going to do is we're going to just go after the murder weapons. We're going to ban guns. We're going to ban knives, and baseball bats, because that's what's commonly used. So if the abortion pill is what's commonly used, well, let's just ban the murder weapon. It doesn't fit in a constitutional republic where we have the rights to live our lives and so forth. I should be able to own a gun, even though it could be used to murder somebody. These abortion pills, they're actually can be used for other things too. When they're used in combination, can murder a child, but they can be used for other things. The issue is not we need to regulate the murder weapons, but the issue is we got to get to the core problem, which is that we have dehumanized the baby in the womb, and they don't have the protection that you and I have. We are commanded to love our neighbors ourselves, and we don't have any weaker, more vulnerable neighbors than the preborn orphan whose parents do not love them, and so that's the one that we must love the most. And so I wouldn't advocate for those laws that protect them to protect me or to protect my grandma. I shouldn't be advocating for those laws to protect them.